Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. In this video, we are going to see how to set up multiple versions of PHP in a single XAMPP installation. Okay, so now this is important because if you download XAMPP in from their website, you will see that the latest version uses PHP 7.4.4, right? Now in that case, if you have certain apps which works on older versions of PHP like 5.5 or 5.3, then in that case what will happen is your lot of commands that were there at that time are now deprecated, right? So that will are removed from the PHP, right? So that those apps will basically crash. So you will need a lower version of PHP in that case, right? But then that means that you have to uninstall that particular XAMPP and install the older XAMPP, right? So this tutorial, what we're going to do is how we can have the latest XAMPP as well as older versions of PHP in the same XAMPP. Okay, so let us start. So I will give you this link in the description where I have created this blog where you can follow the steps one by one. Okay, so the first two steps are first step is obvious. You have to have XAMPP installed on your computer, right? So this is not only with XAMPP, it will work with any server system, right? Like WAMP or Uniserver, anything, right? So let's assume that you have already XAMPP installed. Okay, so if you don't have it, you can go to apachefriends.org to download the software and install it. After that, you have to go to this website where of PHP where you get the all the versions listed over here, right? What you have to do is you have to find the version which you want, right? And download the NTS file of that, right? So that is very important. You have to download the non-thread safe version of it, right? So you can select, let's say for example, I want to download, there are lots of versions, right? So I want to install 5.6. okay, so I will go to a version which is latest. You can see 5.6.40. this is uh, the highest version in that particular 5.6 series. So I will go over here and I will find the NTS version. You can see this is the NTS version, and based on your system's architecture, you can download 64 or 86 version, right? So I have downloaded this and I have saved it on my desktop. You can see it is 5.6.40 NTS Win32, right? So it is the same file, and I have also downloaded 7.0.33. okay, so I may not be using this, but I will show you how to install 5.6. The same applies to all the other versions. Okay, now the next step, what I've done is, if I go to the step 2, it says extract it, right? So I have, if you see, I have already extracted this, right? So I have already extracted. I will just rename this to PHP 5.6. okay, so basically I'm just adding the version to it, right? PHP 5.6. now I can just cut this from here and paste it inside XAMPP. okay, based on your where you have installed. In my case, it is in C drive XAMPP folder. Inside that, you will see all the folders of the respective softwares, and you can see PHP also, right? But that is the PHP that is there with the with your default installation, right? And what we are going to do is we are going to install the copied PHP over here. So what happens is, now you have two folders. One is your original PHP and another is PHP 5.6. okay, so like this you can copy any version you want, and just see to it that you should not name it as PHP, but with some characters over here so that it is different from the original folder, right? So I have named it as PHP 5.6, right? So that is the version of this particular software. If I open this right now, you will see it has all the files required, and the important file is two files are very important. First one is this file, that is the file that is going to handle the PHP files, right? And also I need to create a configuration file php.ini, and if you see right now I'm not having any ini file, right? So what I will do is I will copy this development ini sample and paste it over here, and as soon as I paste it I can just rename this now to php.ini, right? And now I can just open this in Notepad. Okay, after opening it, here all the configurations of your PHP version can be edited over here. Okay, like you can enable or disable error reporting, etc, etc. But I want to specifically uh, edit some configuration, that is the step 3. Okay, so in step 3 I want to enable this particular uh, line. Okay, so basically that line will be commented out. Let me just search it, and you can see right now it is commented, right? So I just have to remove that semicolon, and now it is uncommented. Okay, so till here it's fine, but in many cases depending on what your application you're building, you may also like to enable some of the extensions. Okay, just go down a little bit, you will see all the extensions listed over here, right? So these are all the extensions that are available, and depending on your requirement you can enable them, right? So let's suppose I enable MySQL extension, I enable MySQL extension. Okay, so this extension is no longer there in the new latest version, but let's suppose your app uses MySQL, so you can enable that. Then let's say I enable file info for curl. Okay, now this is completely up to you, and let's suppose you also use SQLite, so you can enable SQLite. Okay, so this is completely your choice. Okay, so once you are done with whatever extensions you need, then you just click save, control S, save, or you can go to file and save, right? And after that close it. So we are done with step 3. Now let's tell Apache that we have a new PHP file, right? So now let's go to Apache. Right now Apache knows only about this PHP, that is the original version of the PHP that came with XAMPP, right? Now this PHP we have put over here, right? So we have to tell Apache that this PHP is there, right? So now for that what we do is we go to the Apache folder, go to conf folder and go to extra. Here you will find that there is a file called httpd xampp.conf, right? So just open it, and if you go down you will see that there is a section of code which is actually telling the location of the current PHP. Okay, so what we will do is you can do it below this after this particular line, or you can do it at the end also. It is completely up to you, right? So I am putting it over here. You can copy the bit of code from here that I've put it in the blog. You can just copy this from here and paste it over here. Okay, so what this does is it will now tell that there is a new folder called php 56 which also needs to be recognized, right? So what I have done is I have added I have specified the folder name over here. Okay, now this should resemble whatever is the folder name that you've given to the PHP folder. Okay, so in my case I have given the name as php 56. Okay, so similarly wherever there is php 56, that should be renamed. Okay, so I have done this entire thing. So this command will change based on which version of PHP you are going to install. Okay, let's suppose you are going to install 7.0, then the folder name will be PHP 70. Here also it will be PHP 70. Everywhere it will now become PHP 70. Okay, so if you want to have PHP 5.6, that is 5.6, and PHP 7.0, then all you have to do is you have to just copy this and paste it again down. Okay, so like this you can do it many times and just replace it by 57070. Everywhere you just have to replace it by 70. Okay, so for the time being I'm not doing 70, I'm just showing you how to install 5.6. Okay, so once this is done, our server is set up ready to has ready to recognize PHP version 5.6. Now you just save it, and now you can open your XAMPP folder, right? If your server is already running, you just have to restart it. Just click on stop and start again. Okay, and now your virtual your server is ready to handle PHP 5.6. Okay, but the problem is if you open the website. Okay, let me just go to my XAMPP, and let me open this index.php, and instead of hello, let me just type this function PHP Info. Okay, so this function basically tells you what is the current PHP version that this particular script file is looking at, right? So let me just open localhost and check. uh, okay, sorry, I have set up a virtual host, so this file is will not be recognized. I will just copy this inside project one. Okay, and I will just try again, and you can see the version currently it is recognizing is still 7.44. Okay, so obviously because we have told this XAMPP that there is a PHP 5.6 version also, but where to use it we have not yet told the XAMPP software. Okay, so that is still left, right? So by default it is going to use 7.44 only, that is whatever is the original version. Okay, so whenever we want to change the version, we have to specifically tell this to the XAMPP software. Now for that, what you can do is you can again go back to XAMPP Apache and go to conf file, go to extra, and this was the file we last edited, httpd XAMPP. Now we are going to edit virtual host. Okay, so now let's click on virtual host, and if your virtual host is not on, then I have a different video how to set up virtual host, where you can see what I have done over here. So basically I have set up two virtual hosts, one for project one, one called project one.local, and another called project two.local. Okay, so basically they are just opening these two folders, project one and project two. Okay, so basically if I just show you what these files are having, so if I just put project one.local, you can see it opens PHP 7.4.4, and if I do project two.local, it opens another file, project 2. Okay, so let me just change that file also. Let me go to XAMPP htdocs. You can see I have two files, two folders. I can open this. This is currently what is getting opened. I will just put this also as PHP Info, right? Save it, and now if I come over here and refresh, you will see both the websites are using PHP 7.44. right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift one of them to 5.6. Okay, so let's put project 2 to 5.6, right? So project 2, let us find which is the virtual host for project 2. You can see this is the block which is defining project 2, right? So here let's come down over here and check the blog, and if you come down, and go to step after the last step. You can see you have successfully set up, right? Now all you have to do is you have to edit the host file, and based on number of projects you want to put, you just have to copy this code over there, right, and paste it over here. Right now, since we already have the project set up, right, so I'm just going to take the details, right? So I'm going to keep this as it is, and I'm going to take what all details from here and then remove this particular block, right? So first of all, I want document root, so this has to be the document root. So I will replace the document root with this, right? Then the project domain, that is the server name, is project2.local. So instead of this server name, I'm going to select this, right? And again, if you see, this is nothing but the document root only, right? I will just copy that and paste it over here, right? And I think that's it. And if you want to save the error logs, you can copy these two lines also, and after files match you can paste it over here. Okay, so once that is done, I have copied all the data except I think these two lines, server admin and server alias, right? So that is not that important, we will not take that. Okay, anyhow we are not using alias right now, right? So once this is done, our virtual host is ready. Now we will just press save, and whenever, remember, whenever you change any Apache configuration file, you have to restart. Okay, once it is turned green, now we can come to the website and click refresh. So if an error something like this happens, that means your Visual C++ is not installed. Okay, so basically what happens is, if you look at the zip file that you have extracted, you will see that it says VC11, right? That means Visual C++ is required to run this software, right? So what we will do is we will just simply go to the Microsoft website and download the Visual C++, and after downloading it we will install it. Okay, so this step is optional. Some of you may get this error or some of you may not get this error, depending on whether it is installed on your system or not, right? And after this is installed, you can go back and click refresh, and you can see now the same web server which was previously using PHP 7.4.4, right now it is using PHP 5.6. Okay, so the same server is running on both the softwares. Okay, now just to verify, let's refresh this. You can see project 1 is working on 7.4.4 and project 2 is working on 5.6.4. okay, so similarly you can add any number of versions you want. Okay, one thing to note is that when you do this, when you install any other version, like for example in this case, if I try to install PHP 7.0.33, right? So in that case it needs VC14, right? So in that case you have to again go to your Microsoft website and download Visual C++ 14, and then this software will start running. Okay, so that you should keep in mind whenever downloading whichever version you are trying to download. That particular Visual C has to be installed first. Okay, so I hope you understood how we have set up different versions for the XAMPP software. Okay, see you in the next video.